Welcome back to Eagles Draft Central. Just like that, the 57th pick is JJ Arcega-Whiteside, receiver from Stanford, a long, big-bodied wide receiver from a great academic institution. I'm sure Zach Ertz is very excited to have another Stanford alum in the house here in Philadelphia. Fran, tell us about this new Eagles offensive weapon. Carson, this is like the best week of Carson Wentz's life, right? Tell us about this guy.
So everyone says, Alshon Jeffrey, okay, when it's the 50-50 ball, it's not really 50-50. That's how it is with JJ Arcega-Whiteside. He made a living on the contested catch, going up and just throwing him fades, and everybody knew it. That was the most amazing part of it, Amy, was you're watching this team week in, week out. You watch Stanford. They get inside the 25-yard line. They move everybody to one side of the field, and then they line up JJ Arcega-Whiteside by himself to the other side. And everybody in the stadium and their mother knows this ball is going to go jump ball to JJ Arcega-Whiteside, and no one could stop him all season long. You're going to see some of the highlights here coming up here for JJ Arcega-Whiteside, and a guy that can go up and win at the catch point like no other. And really, it all comes from his basketball background. This is a guy who was born in Spain, and Amy, the reason why he was born in Spain, both of his parents played basketball overseas. Both of his siblings all played basketball, a huge basketball lineage, and that shows up with him on the gridiron. He does a great job at going up and fighting for the football in the air.
That's good blood right there. Let's go back to the man who was in the room where it happened, our Eagles insider, Dave Spadaro. Dave, tell us more about the moment that they made this pick. What's the vibe? What's happening in there? I'm guessing it's another party.
Well, it was interesting. It was a different kind of vibe. It was hushed for a while. The sense is that at this time, you're getting a lot of draft opportunities to trade. You're hearing a lot of things from a lot of different teams, and I'm sure the Eagles considered a lot of different options to move out of 57, but instead they stayed and they get a player. I spoke to Howie Roseman after he made the call to JJ, and he told me that he's just a big target. As you said, Fran, he catches everything, great catch radius, outstanding in the red zone, will play on the outside, adds some competition and some depth at wide receiver. And yeah, if you want to compare him to somebody, compare him to Alshon Jeffrey in the sense of the big body, the big catch radius, goes up and catches the football. And what I heard more than anything from inside the draft room was that he catches everything thrown his way. So the Eagles thrilled with this pick. That's 3 for 3 offensive picks in this 2019 NFL draft.
Yeah, Dave, and what helps him most going up and going to get the football, 80-inch wingspan, like just under 80 inches, like ridiculous. He's like a pterodactyl out there on the outside. And really, ultimately, he also plays the ball very, very well. And he's also a great kid, comes from a great family, so you know what you're getting from a character standpoint. And I think that's obviously something that's very important to Howie Roseman, Doug Peterson, maintaining the culture in the Eagles locker room.
Yeah, and when let's talk about the depth chart for just a moment, Fran. And there is no depth chart at this time, but let's at least take a look at some of the names. Alshon Jeffrey is one starting receiver, right? The Eagles believe Deshaun Jackson adds that element of speed that they really didn't have last year because of the injury to Mike Wallace. Inside, you've got Nelson Aguilar. You've got two tight ends who are going to be great weapons. You've got Mac Hollins hopefully coming back from an injury that robbed him of his second NFL season. You've got some younger receivers developing. Shelton Gibson, who last training camp and in the preseason showed signs and then just never really stepped on the field and was productive. So the Eagles adding another young talent here at the wide receiver position to push, to add competition, and to add another interesting development, another dimension to the passing game, another matchup difficulty for defenses. You want to go big. This is like a basketball team all of a sudden. This is a power forward lineup if the Eagles want to do that at times, particularly in the red zone. And they've talked about where do you want to get better as a football team. You want to get better on third downs because the Eagles dropped off quite a bit in 2018 in third downs. And in 2017, remember, they were second in the NFL in the red zone. They dropped in 2018, and that was an area that Doug Peterson has talked about improving, getting better in the red zone. So getting a big, gigantic catch-everything target really helps the Eagles there.
David, it seems like they're really setting Carson Wentz up for success, bolstering that offensive line, adding some offensive weapons in the run game and in the passing game. He has to be pretty excited right now. Can you imagine what he might be feeling looking at these picks rolling in?
Yeah, and for sure. And it's not as Howie has said many times here, it's not just about 2019. They're looking 2-3 years down the line, and certainly JJ fits into that category. Now it's an interesting time up here. The Eagles have no more picks tonight. at this point. Now, will they try to make a move to get into the third round? You know, the Eagles now have just 2 draft picks left, right, in the NFL draft. So this is a team that always wants to add draft picks. So I think Howie is one of those guys who always works the telephones, and you could kind of see him doing that over the course of the next many hours until the draft resumes on Saturday. But at this point, the Eagles 3 for 3 on offense in this 2019 NFL draft. And I think if you were to kind of take a step back, that would surprise a lot of people outside of the NovaCare complex.
Dave, my final question for you is just you add a guy that, look, we know he's got size. He's over 6'2". He's got better speed than people think, too. I mean, he ran 4.49 at his pro day, so this is not some big plotter out in the perimeter. He does have the ability to work vertically, was a great blocker and a great special teamer. So talk about really how these guys, they value special teams. Ever since Dave Phipp has been in the building here, you know they value that third phase of the game.
Absolutely, Fran. I mean, special teams such an important part of what the Eagles do, and you have to be versatile to get on the field. And there are many opportunities for these players to get on the field on special teams, especially early in their careers. And we heard that about Mac Hollins coming out of North Carolina, how great he was on special teams and showed that kind of promise as a rookie. And unfortunately, the injury last year set him back. So with JJ, for sure, he'll have an opportunity to earn playing time on special teams in the offense. But look, this is a stacked group of offensive skill position players, and the Eagles wide receiver position, much like the running back position here in the offseason, has taken a dramatic upturn in terms of talent, upper level talent, and then competition all the way through the depth chart. So an interesting pick, a good pick. The Eagles thrilled about this one. Again, 2 picks, 53 and 57 for the offense. 2 players with multi-dimensional skills to help this offense. And we hear Doug talk about this all the time. He wants to be versatile. He wants to be multi-dimensional. And in Miles Sanders and in JJ, the Eagles have 2 players added to the mix who can give the Eagles different looks as they change up their personnel packages.